So if you're watching this video, I guess that you probably like the Bronte sisters. And I happen to also really like the Bronte sisters. And today I am obviously going to talk about some stuff to do with them. First of all, this is all sort of, it's a TBR basically for this event that's coming up, which is called Brooding About the Brontes, and it's hosted by Girl with her Head in a Book, and I will link her blog below. It runs from the 18th to the 24th of April, and Charlotte Bronte's birthday is actually the 21st of April, and I suppose it's her 200th birthday, even though she died a long time ago. The point is, it's just like a week talking about the Bronte sisters, and I am so excited for it. So I'm going to share a couple of books that I'm hoping to read by then, that I will talk about in videos and blog posts. During that week it will probably just be blog posts, maybe one video. I don't know what's going on that week yet, so we'll see as we get closer as to what's going to happen. I have a couple of different novels by the Brontes that I want to reread, not reread, there is a reread in there. But I'm going to quickly go through those, and then I'll show you the ones that are more about them, or inspired by them. So I first got Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I've never read this. In fact, I have read 112 pages of it, like 2 years ago, and I just never continued. So I want to finally get this read. I lied, there are actually 2 new reads and 2 rereads. I've also got Tales from Angria by Charlotte Bronte, and this is sort of like a collection of stories that she and her brother Branwell wrote, and I don't really know much about this other than that, and it's set in a made-up world called Angria. It's probably pronounced wrong, but... And then my 2 rereads, I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I read this 2 years ago. This is one of my favourite books of all time, and I've just been waiting for an excuse to reread this book because I love it so much. And this is the Penguin cloth bound edition, and it's got dust on the top, but these are really pretty, and this is, I'm gonna read this like ASAP basically. And then the other one I have was actually my first ever Bronte novel, and I hated it when I read it, which would have been 3 or 4 years ago, which was Violette by Charlotte Bronte. I was just too young to understand the brilliance of the Bronte sisters at that age, so I'm going to reread this, and I think now that I know a lot more about Charlotte's life, that this will sort of be more interesting, especially because it's, like Jane Eyre, it's a little bit autobiographical in parts, so I am super excited to reread this and probably love it. Now I've got some books that are about the Brontes. I'm sorry if you can hear those birds, they're being really loud right outside my window. So I've got Regarding Jane Eyre by a whole bunch of authors, and it's edited by Susan Geeson. I picked this up at my uni library, and it's just sort of like essays about Jane Eyre. I'm thinking of maybe doing something on the Bronte sisters for my theses next year, so I've sort of borrowed a bunch of books to sort of look into what I might be able to do with that. And in the same thing I got Charlotte Bronte, The Evolution of Genius by Winfried Guerin, and I think this is just a biography of Charlotte. Charlotte is my favourite Bronte sister, followed very closely by Anne, and then Emily. I'm not so fond of Emily, but I'm very excited to read this. I also, if I can get it, I would love to read the one by Elizabeth Gaskell, because I think that would be very interesting, and I love North and South, so yeah. And then today I picked these two up at the library. I have the Brontes, the Cambridge Companion to the Brontes, edited by Heather Glenn. And again, this is just essays about the Brontes, so this has stuff about Anne and Emily as well as Charlotte, and just the family in general. So this should be very, very interesting. I also have Bronte Country, Lives and Landscapes by Peggy Hewitt. I got this because I was actually lucky enough when I was in Europe to go to Haworth, which is where the Bronte Parsonage Museum is, so their house. And I spent quite a bit of time in Yorkshire and I really loved it there, so this is kind of, yeah, that. And there are sort of things in here that I know, and I mean they obviously look very different because they're all in black and white, but it's sort of like, you know, Yorkshire stuff, and I like Yorkshire stuff, so yep. And then the final one I have is very different to the rest of them. This is actually just inspired by Jane Eyre, and there are a few other books sort of in that range that I'd also really like to read, but I haven't been able to find copies of, so I found this one at the library earlier and I thought I would read this. So it's called Jane, the Fox and Me by Fanny Britt and Isabel Arsenault, and it is a graphic novel, and I had a little flick through it before. It kind of looks like it would be a picture book, but so it's got like this, and it's in black and white, and then every now and again there's a page of colour. So from what I flicked through, this looks really awesome, and I'd like to reread Jane Eyre before I read this, just so that I can really get the full experience of this. So there we go. That was my kind of TBR for Brooding About the Brontes. Like I said, if you're interested in this event, I will link the blog below, and we can all talk about the Brontes for a week and just freak out. So if you do like the Brontes, let me know which is your favourite one. Like I said, Charlotte's definitely mine. And also your favourite book, or if you haven't read them, which book you're most excited to look forward to. The book you're most excited to read. And yeah, we will just keep talking about the Brontes forever. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.